everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Digital Marketeer. I'm your host, Stefanie Beach. We are recording live from the Possible studio, and I am here with Scott Ensign from Butler Till. Scott is the Chief Strategy Officer at Butler Till. He has a proven track leader in marketing, innovation, and strategy, guiding across cross-channel teams, shaping growth for some North American brands, and has a deep passion for the intersection of strategy, technology, and business development. Scott is at the forefront of rethinking how media gets planned, bought, and optimized, especially as AI agents and agentic systems start to transform the landscape. We're going to dive into what makes Butler Till different, how to decentralize agentic media, and how it's changing the game, and what's next for pharma. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here too. How's your week going so far?
So far it's great. Very busy. Lots of great partner meetings, great client meetings. So really busy, but well worth the time.
Awesome. And has anything stood out to you so far this week?
Kind of what you were mentioning in the intro there. We're leaning in heavy on the agentic front, which I know we're going to talk about. There's so many fantastic partners that we're working with who are pushing into that, and we're really excited about the possibilities.
Awesome. Do you mind giving a brief intro, background on yourself and how you wound up at Butler Till?
Sure. So I've been on the media side for my entire career. We don't need to talk about how long that's been. But the vast majority of that has been on the digital media side in the agency world. And so about almost, I guess, 8 years ago now, I was working at another agency, wasn't really looking, out of the blue, got recruited by Butler Till to come in and kind of restructure, reimagine their digital media offering and digital media team. And I was really struck by the culture there, which is quite unique, and loved the client profile and portfolio and just saw a huge opportunity. So joined, it'll be 8 years this fall, and it's been really fantastic spot for me.
That I love hearing that. And 8 years at an agency is long.
No, it's a couple of lifetimes.
It is a couple of lifetimes. So what makes Butler Till different than other agencies?
Yeah, so there's a few things. I mean, we're an independent media agency, which by itself doesn't really make us different. We specialize in a couple of areas. One of them is healthcare, and the other is really scaled, decentralized local media for large brands. So think agent networks, dealer networks, franchise networks, and we've built a lot of process technology and partnerships around that kind of, I would say, horizontal delivery system. But really the thing that makes us unique is who we are kind of as a culture and a DNA. I know everyone says that, but we have some, I think, really meaningful proof points. We were founded by two dynamic women in the late 90s. So we're women-founded, women-owned, certified, women-owned and led organization, which makes us unique, of course, in this industry. We're also a certified B Corp, so really dedicated and committed to using business as a force for good, and our people are really connected to that cause. But perhaps the thing that's most unique is we are 100% employee-owned through an employee stock ownership plan. So that means that every employee at Butler Till is an owner, and every owner of Butler Till is an employee. We have absolutely zero outside funding, outside money. Everyone who has a stake in the business is working on the business and for the benefit of our clients. That creates a culture of ownership that you, I think, really can't replicate in other ways. So in that sense, it's a really unique and special culture and place to be.
Yeah, and I love that. And you are right. Like, all of those things really do make it different and unique. And the culture is really what makes people stay.
Yes.
So the fact that you're there for 8 years, I guess, is very telling.
Yeah, and at 8 years, I'm still in some ways kind of the new person. So we have people who've been there for a very long time because, again, it's just such a special place. And then the benefit to clients are you have someone who's been working on your business and understands your business so well and has been doing it for so long. A lot of frustrations we hear from clients are it's working with an agency partner. There was so much turnover. It's a new person every quarter. That business continuity has such value for the clients that we work with. And we've had client relationships that have spanned literally multiple decades.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
It's kind of wild.
That's an amazing accomplishment and something that not many agencies could say. You guys also specialize in pharma, which is something that not many people do. And it's a little bit of a harder category, I would say.
It's fair to
So, what specific challenges in pharma marketing led you to explore agentic media buying as a primary solution?
Yeah. I love the way you frame that question because challenges are the way that we look at it. And so I think a lot of people look at AI and agentic and their mind immediately goes to, okay, like this is going to create efficiency. This is maybe going to change jobs. Maybe jobs will be at risk. And I think certainly that is something to be concerned about and important. I think, again, one of the things that makes Butler Till unique is our shareholders are our people. So when we are employing agentic things, obviously it's on behalf of our clients, but it's also for the benefit of our employees because they are the stakeholders and shareholders in the business. But when it comes to pharma specifically, there's some things that agentic has the promise of doing that really have been kind of thorny and challenging before. So just to give one example, contextual advertising has always been really important for pharma because you want to reach people who are reading about certain conditions, certain health conditions as a core signal that this is a relevant audience. And there's a lot of privacy concerns that make it hard to target in a very, very precise way for very good reasons that I agree with as a professional and as a consumer, and as a patient, certainly. And so that means we have a lot of one-to-one relationships with high-end publishers like your WebMD, Healthline, etc. But that then creates a lot of manual work. And Agentic has allowed us to buy across those different publishers and different partners in a much more automated way. And so that's one way that we're looking to deploy Agentic, certainly across pharma, but really across our whole business to take the benefit of that one-to-one, high-end, contextual, premium relationship and give it some of the benefits that other channels like or methods of buying like programmatic have historically enjoyed. So we see tons of opportunity to do better, more sophisticated, more impactful work for our clients using that technology specifically just for that case. And then there's dozens and dozens more ways to use it as well.
You make it sound so simple, especially for pharma where there's so many more rules.
Yes.
There's so many more disclaimers.
Yes.
There's so much more that you have to consider and think about beyond PII, right? And so you really do make it seem like it's just so simple.
Yes.
How are you actually doing that?
It is definitely not simple. Like I say, Butler Till, we like to sign up for the hard stuff. That's definitely one way to differentiate yourself in this business. But yeah, our people know, that's what I mentioned, the tenure of our employees before. Pharma is a category where you cannot fake it.
Yeah.
You cannot walk into a room and try to, read a couple of, talk to ChatGPT for a few minutes and think that you're going to come across as an expert. Clients will find your depth in an instant if you try to do that. So really combining that expertise with technology and automation is the way that we've brought those things to life. And so when you're thinking about regulatory environments, approvals, legal and medical review, our people understand that. So we're really starting on the third rung of the ladder and then building agentic systems on top of that can communicate with our partners and our platforms. And that's a way to scale that expertise in a way that's really exciting to us. I think there's just tons of opportunity, obviously for Butler Till, but also for our clients and partners.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's really amazing what you guys are building and how it's coming to fruition and the efficiency and the performance, I think will speak for itself as those results start rolling out.
Absolutely.
How do you scale decentralized media without losing control of the brand?
Yeah, I would say that is the big value proposition, or at least one of the big value propositions that we go to market with in that sector, because that's a major challenge for, as I said, agent networks, dealer networks, franchise networks, is you have a strong brand, you want to leverage that brand at every point in the value chain. And for those businesses, that can be hundreds or even thousands of locations. So we've built, again, technology and platforms around that allow brands to cascade the brand equity, to cascade the brand guidelines, the strength and consistency of that brand, all the way from national down to the hyper local level. And so the idea is we're able to reduce those barriers of entry for those decentralized stakeholders so they can run campaigns that look and feel and carry the weight of the brand, but are also at the same time locally targeted, locally bought, optimized, and relevant to the local market. And the only way to do that at scale, again, potentially in thousands of different contexts, is through technology. So we've built systems and platforms and processes on top of that specifically to make that possible. And we've seen really, really impactful results from that.
And what caused you guys to kind of build your own solution rather than adopting one that, you see here possible, or the many other ad tech companies that are building something similar?
So we take a partnership approach to the market for sure. So first and foremost, we're an independent agency. We're not a public company. We're not a holding company. We don't have the scale of some of the who we would see as competitors in the marketplace. So we definitely see partnership as a shortcut to growth and to getting there faster. So wherever we can, we try to partner with folks. But what we found in the marketplace is there was no one doing that at the scale that we needed for some of the very large clients that we work with. And so I was actually just talking to someone about this in a meeting this morning. We've tried a lot of different platforms to solve certain problems. Then the scale of these programs tends to break those platforms pretty immediately. So we had to make a decision. We've got to do a lot of our own building here. And it's not like we're building everything end to end. Obviously, we're using DSPs, we're using other solutions like that. But we've had to build platforms and technology and solutions on top of that to bring all of this together into a really valuable, coherent offering for those clients.
Yeah. And, I bet that it's also built efficiency.
Yes.
Right? You also kind of know it inside and out.
Yep.
And, has it helped cut down costs in the supply chain?
100%. I mean, that's been a big part of it too. Like, I think as we look at the market and you think of something like programmatic as a larger, broader way of buying, we're going to see continued compression in the marketplace in terms of the supply chain.
Yeah.
And so anything that we can do that is going to lean into that trend is going to automatically throw off value to our clients. So some of the testing that we've done with partners like PubMatic has been about, like, how do we cut out those supply chain costs by getting closer to the supply, getting more direct with things like CTV or owned and operated. We're doing a test right now with Yahoo and Scope 3 that's really pointed at the same thing, but from a little bit of a different direction. So we see that as an opportunity to continue to add value and efficiency. Like, performance and unique solutions are ways that we add value, but obviously clients care a lot about efficiency as well.
Right.
So anything that we can bring to the market that's going to make those dollars go further, is going to give them more room and flexibility in their budget, is something that, as we all know, clients are always looking for.
Yeah, for sure. And what were some of the biggest wins that you had during the test?
I think so. That test, we were, as far as we know, the first agency to launch a fully agentic media campaign in the fall. And I think the biggest thing that we found, it was interesting to us, is just that it actually worked. Because we didn't know. I mean, to be perfectly transparent, like, no one had really done this before. And so, I mean, I was sitting in the room with
your client must have trusted you a lot.
We're communicating with PubMatic seller agent in this case, and I think the most surprising thing was, like, how well it works right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And so we were able to get inventory recommendations, audience recommendations, budget recommendations, and creating objects in a platform and in the ad server. Like, it was so really immediately seamless. I think the aha moment for that was like, wow, we've been excited about this. We've really, really been leaned in and interested, but this is actually going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
Something that we're going to be able to add a lot of value doing this. I think that was the biggest thing. And then, of course, as we've published publicly, like, we saw a big reduction in supply chain costs, as we were talking about, and also just overall efficiency. And for me, that is not about, like, okay, can we do this with fewer people? It's like, how much more are our people going to be empowered to do? What are the things in the space that have previously been impossible, or at the very least highly impractical or not profitable, that we can now do because we have this new tool in our belt? And that's what's really exciting.
So beyond, I guess, efficiency and cost savings, what other problems do you think that these agents could solve for?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is almost no end to it. And so you're probably seeing a lot of partners talking about orchestration. And so when we were talking about the decentralized campaigns and the multiple locations, building those campaigns, uploading those campaigns, I mean, we have some of the technology that we've built has been about working with APIs that are not really built for that level of scale. And so they'll time out, we run it overnight, we do it again. Obviously, in an agentic orchestration layer, you can have agents working on that around the clock. And so anything like that, where we're doing something that has to take a single item and multiply it by hundreds or thousands of times, that's where agent orchestration. So instead of our people spending time on that, our people are spending time on strategic work and adding value in other ways. And we can take on more and more clients and grow in a way that for us has been, a little bit more perhaps incremental and really, really get that hockey stick of growth for the agency. So that's what we're most excited about.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a really exciting tool. It seems like it's able to solve for a lot of things, and the fact that you guys are building it on top of other technology also gives you a layer of control.
Yes.
And the ability to pivot quickly or fix things
Yeah.
quickly.
And I think that's another big thing that the agentic models have the promise of solving. We all know that the buying platforms and silos, you've got to go to Amazon for this and Google for this
Right.
and Meta for this. Agentic frameworks that can talk across all of those things are going to make, again, things possible. We talk about omnichannel all the time. I think we all know that omnichannel is not what it should be, what it could be. And so again, I'm not so concerned about like, how can we make someone buying on Meta more efficient? I'm more concerned about how can we make that program more impactful over a much broader swath of inventory and opportunity for our clients.
Yeah, and how are you guys, localization is big for you guys too, local markets.
Yep.
How are you building the platform to better support local markets and franchisees and businesses?
Yeah, I think it's about, like we talked a little bit about brand control before. So that's kind of the enterprise view. And what does the enterprise want? The locations want to feel like they have the same tools and service and ability to market themselves as a much, much larger organization. And that's what, again, you have to have technology to be able to do that. The economics don't work if you're trying to service an account with a budget that's a few $1,000s a month, the same way you're servicing a budget that's millions of dollars a month. But again, with technology, you can create platforms and user experiences that walk a location through different steps to build a marketing plan, that are querying information about inventory, that are putting something together that feels like feels like a sophisticated enterprise level marketing plan for every single individual location. And that's what we are laser focused on working on for those brands.
Which is pretty amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun because like there are so many local businesses and franchisees and things like that that you work with on the corporate level, but it's so different in geographic, demographic, all of it.
And frankly, we've seen over the last, couple of decades, that's why walled gardens have taken up a kind of an outsized share of spend. And we work with the walled gardens. We have lots of partners and friends there. So it's not like those are bad and it's good.
Right.
But they've taken up a large share because they have built products that are easy to use, that give you built-in measurement, that make it feel like what I was saying, like you can put your money in here and know what you're going to get out. That is possible to do now beyond the walled gardens. In ways that include the walled gardens, but go well beyond that in terms of formats, in terms of inventory and opportunity. And you can build those things much more easily than you ever used to before. And so what used to maybe take months to code, now with Agentic and AI, you can code much faster, you can build much faster. And so a time of disruption like this means barriers to entry are crumbling fast. And you're going to see a lot more solutions for that segment of the market that largely has been excluded from things like CTV in particular, or other premium formats, podcast audio. You're hearing now, if you've noticed, when I'm traveling, I'll hear a podcast ad on like a national or global podcast for a hyper local business. And it really gets my attention. It's like, wow, the world is really changing. Access is changing. I think a lot of the ways that this industry has worked has been about like kind of restricting access. And the thing I'm most excited about with Agentic and AI and just technology and automation overall is it is going to bring those things and make them available and democratize that inventory and opportunity for everyone, which is really, I think, going to be a good thing. I'm an optimist, as you can tell, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting stuff for sure. How do you think this is changing the way that you're actually planning and buying media?
Yeah. It's making it faster. It's making it more flexible. I mean, in the kind of I would call it conventional way of planning and buying media. You put together a plan, you present it to the client, you hope that they like it, you make some tweaks, you launch it, and then you come back. Replanning can be done constantly. So you have an always on planning, optimization, and reporting model that is making changes all the time. So in a certain sense, there is no media plan. There's a starting point, and if in 30 days what we're doing looks like that starting point, it means we probably haven't done our job because the conditions are going to dictate and performance is going to dictate what that overall effort and campaign looks like going forward. So I have to say the biggest thing is that it is changing the expectations around speed and performance, which is definitely not slowing down. So the tools that we're building are about how can we get to a plan faster? How can we evaluate that plan fast? How can we put something in market that is taking advantage of all of the data at our disposal? And how are we coming faster to rapid optimization and improvement that is making it feel like that planning is happening all the time?
Yeah, and I'm sure it's also driving efficiencies when you have budget change or incremental or switching out of a partner or budget cuts or whatever that might be.
Yeah, I mean, it makes that stuff far more straightforward.
Yeah.
Things that we can get to answers faster for clients. We can provide, we're not a creative agency, we do creative work, but we can provide creative insights much more quickly too, because that data is just being provided with way more velocity than it ever has been in the past.
So what can we expect from Butler Till's agentic efforts moving forward?
Well, I think a lot of the things that we've already talked about. And so you're going to see a lot more end-to-end, agent-to-agent work going all the way from the initial client briefing and contact into the buying platforms and back. So we're working, again, we're building stuff ourselves. We've got an engineering team that's hard at work on this, but we're also really committed to working with our key partners to bring things to market faster. So I think you'll see some stuff on the programmatic side that is in line with what we talked about automating one-to-one partnerships into to platforms and agentic frameworks to bringing that to market faster. And I think you're going to see some fun announcements from us toward the end of the year on all of that.
Oh, I'm excited to see what that is. Nothing you could share? No sneak peek?
No, I don't think anything that we're ready to talk about just yet. But we're going to have some launches and announcements coming up soon, maybe at a certain conference in Europe.
Okay. Well, hopefully I will be there for that.
Yes.
And I am excited to hear those. And maybe we'll have to do a follow-up episode then. And
that would be fantastic.
Go over what all those are. Thank you so much for being here, Scott.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was so great. Thank you everyone for tuning in and for listening. Please subscribe. And I am Stefanie Beach. That's it for this episode of The Digital Marketeer. Until next time, guys. Thank you.